Welcome. Take a moment to settle in, let your breathing slow, and allow the day to fall away. Tonight, we will take a journey back in time. Far back, to a world of rice paddies, wooden sandals, and quiet villages watched over by armored warriors. The world of feudal Japan, where life moved to the rhythm of the seasons, the rice harvest, and the commands of the local lord. This journey will be gentle and unhurried. You will walk with the farmers, sit with the samurai, and watch the cycles of their lives as if you were standing just at the edge of the village path, observing quietly. We will begin with the first and perhaps most difficult part of this journey, imagining yourself as a common farmer in a samurai village, a life of toil, mud, and duty. From there, we will move to the story of loyalty and vengeance, known as the Tale of the 47 Ronin. Then, we will look deeper into the secretive, shadowed world of the ninja, separating myth from truth. Finally, we will step inside the residence of a powerful daimyo, the feudal lord, to witness the elegance and order of his courtly life. This is a story of contrasts, struggle and ceremony, hardship and grace. So breathe deeply and let us step into the misty morning of a samurai village many centuries ago. Why you wouldn't survive a day in a samurai village. Imagine opening your eyes to the pale grey light before dawn. The air is cool and damp, carrying the faint scent of earth and rice straw. Around you, the simple wooden walls of a farmhouse creak softly as the family inside stirs awake. You are a peasant farmer in 16th century Japan, and today will be much like yesterday, and much like tomorrow. Morning in the village. You rise from a thin mat laid across the wooden floor. The room is sparse, with only the simplest tools: baskets for storing grain, a pot for cooking, a few carefully mended garments hanging on the wall. Your day begins before the sun is visible, because the fields must be tended from first light. Outside, the village is quiet except for the distant low murmur of other farmers preparing for the day. The village itself is small, perhaps a dozen houses, all with thatched roofs, arranged in a loose cluster along a dirt path. Beyond the houses lie the paddies, flat, mirror-like stretches of water where young rice plants sway gently. Your stomach is empty. Breakfast is simple, a bowl of millet or rice if the stores are good, sometimes with pickled vegetables. It is eaten quickly, without ceremony. Work in the fields. The work that follows is repetitive and relentless. You stand in water up to your knees, hands deep in the mud, pulling weeds, planting shoots, mending dikes that keep the water level just right. The mud is thick and clings to your legs. Mosquitoes hover, and the sun climbs slowly in the sky, warming the back of your neck. You are always aware of the samurai. They are few in number, but they represent the authority of the local lord, the daimyo. Their job is to protect the land, but also to ensure that taxes are paid. A portion of nearly every grain of rice you grow will be sent as tax, leaving just enough for your family to survive the winter. This constant duty is part of what makes life here difficult. You work hard, but the reward is mostly survival, not comfort. The rules of the village life is governed by rules, some written, many unwritten. You bow to passing samurai. You obey the orders of the village headman, who collects the rice tax on behalf of the daimyo. Disobedience is dangerous. Punishments for theft or rebellion can be severe, though we will not linger on such matters. Even leisure is structured. On festival days, you join the entire village to watch processions, drummers, and dancers. It's one of the few chances to escape routine, but even these festivals are tied to the agricultural cycle, celebrating planting or harvest. Midday and afternoon. By midday, you pause for another small meal, often rice with miso soup, and then return to the fields. There is no such thing as a day off, except when weather forbids work. The rhythm of your life is the rhythm of the seasons, and the harvest must succeed if you and your neighbors are to survive. Children, too, work alongside you, scaring birds away from the ripening rice, fetching water, helping with planting. Life is a family effort. Evening in the village. As the sun dips, you return to the house. The smell of smoke from many hearths fills the village as supper is cooked. You sit on the wooden floor, share the meal with your family, and perhaps hear a story told by an elder before lying down to sleep. There is no lamp to keep the darkness at bay except the faint glow of a fire. The night is quiet, broken only by the sounds of insects, the croaking of frogs in the paddies, and occasionally the distant steps of a watchman patrolling the road. You sleep, knowing you will do it all again tomorrow. The rhythm is unchanging. The work is hard, but there is also a sense of order, a steady cycle of planting, growing, and harvesting that ties you to the land. And so ends one full day in a samurai village. The tale of the 47 Ronin. Our journey through feudal Japan now shifts from the quiet rhythm of village life to a tale of loyalty, patience, and carefully measured revenge. This is the story of the 47 Ronin, a story so famous in Japan that it has been retold for centuries in plays, scrolls, and books. And imagine yourself now not in a rural village, but in the bustling city of Edo, modern-day Tokyo, at the dawn of the 18th century. The streets are busier, lined with shops selling paper lanterns, tea, and silks. The scent of charcoal fires mixes with the saltiness of the nearby river. You are standing near a grand estate, home to a daimyo named Asano Naganori. He is young, proud, and of noble lineage. His task is to entertain and host envoys from the imperial court, an important duty, but one that brings him into conflict with a high-ranking court official named Kira Yoshinaka. Kira expects gifts and bribes in exchange for his guidance. Asano, by all accounts, refuses to flatter him. The tension builds quietly until one spring day in the shogun's palace, the argument turns into an insult, and then into action. Asano draws his sword inside the palace, striking Kira. It is a shocking breach of etiquette. The shogun cannot allow such an act to go unpunished. Asano is ordered to take his own life by ritual suicide seppuku that very same day. The punishment is swift. His lands are confiscated. His samurai are left masterless. They are now ronin, wandering men without a lord. Here is where the story becomes truly remarkable. Rather than seeking immediate revenge, the ronin wait. Months pass, then years. They disperse, pretending to give up their loyalty. Some take up ordinary trades. One is said to become a monk, another a craftsman. All the while they are secretly planning. Imagine the patience this requires. 2 long years of silence, of enduring insult, of waiting for the perfect moment when Kira will be unprepared. On a cold winter night, the plan is set into motion. Snow has blanketed Edo, muffling sound. The ronin gather quietly, each man in his appointed place. With precision, they storm Kira's mansion. The clash is brief but decisive. Kira is found and executed. His head is taken to Asano's grave at Sengakuji Temple, where the ronin kneel and pay their respects. There is no celebration. They know what must follow. The ronin turn themselves into the shogunate. Their actions have upheld the samurai code of loyalty, but they have still broken the law by killing Kira. The shogun is faced with a difficult decision. In the end, the ronin are ordered to take their own lives, a punishment, but also a recognition of their honor. They comply without resistance, each man following the same path as his fallen lord. Their graves remain at Sengakuji to this day, a quiet temple where visitors leave incense, flowers, and coins. The story of the 47 Ronin is remembered not as a tale of vengeance, but of steadfast duty, of loyalty carried to its ultimate conclusion. The snow has long since melted. The streets of Edo have become Tokyo, and yet the story endures, a reminder of the power of patience, resolve, and quiet determination. From the well-lit streets of Edo, let us step quietly into the shadows. into a world where silence is a weapon and secrecy is a way of life. Tonight, we explore the history and quiet mystery of the ninja, or shinobi, who have fascinated people for centuries. Their image has been shaped by legend, black-clad assassins leaping from rooftops. But the reality was quieter, slower, and in many ways, more practical. Imagine yourself walking through the countryside of 15th century Japan. The land is fractured, ruled by rival warlords. Castles rise on hilltops and conflicts simmer constantly. In this turbulent world, information is as valuable as swords. The ninja were specialists in gathering it. They were not a separate class, but rather peasants, monks, and sometimes even samurai who developed special skills: stealth, infiltration, disguise. Their homes were in remote mountain villages, most famously in Iga and Koga provinces. These regions were difficult to conquer, and their inhabitants became adept at guerrilla tactics. Ninja training was practical, not mystical. A young shinobi might learn how to move quietly on gravel paths, how to climb walls, how to tell which way the wind was blowing to avoid being heard or smelled by guard dogs. Their tools were simple. The so-called ninja stars were small metal blades, often used not to kill, but to distract. Smoke bombs were sometimes just ash or fine powders to obscure vision for a moment. Rope and grappling hooks were more valuable than swords. Even their clothing was ordinary. The iconic all-black outfit likely comes from theater, where stagehands wore black to blend into the background. A real ninja might dress as a farmer, a merchant, or a traveling monk to blend in. The work of a ninja was not constant combat. More often, it was watching and waiting. Perhaps you are sent to observe a rival lord's fortress, counting how many guards stand watch each night. You might slip inside to leave a false message, to sow confusion before a battle. Assassinations did happen, but they were rare and usually carried out only when other methods failed. The goal was disruption, not open warfare. Over time, stories grew. Ninja were said to walk on water, become invisible, or command animals. These tales were part of their power. If enemies believed you had supernatural skills, they feared you more. Even today, much about them remains a little hazy. Records are scarce because secrecy was their trade. What we know comes from scattered scrolls, manuals, and the writings of those who hired or feared them. As Japan entered the long peace of the Edo period, the need for ninja declined. Many became security advisors or served as guards for the shogunate. The art of espionage never disappeared completely, but the romantic image of the ninja slowly took on a life of its own, shaped by plays, novels, and later films. And so, when you picture a ninja tonight, think not of a leaping figure on a moonlit roof, but of a quiet man in a straw hat, blending into a festival crowd, listening carefully, and then slipping away without a sound. Inside a daimyo's residence. Now, imagine leaving the humble village path and walking up a long stone road. The air grows still, and the wooden gates of a great estate rise ahead of you. You are about to step inside the residence of a daimyo, a powerful feudal lord, where every moment is measured, every movement is ritualized, and life follows its own deliberate rhythm. The outer walls are tall and whitewashed, topped with dark tiles. Guards stand at the entrance, their armor lacquered to a soft sheen. You bow low before entering. Inside is a wide courtyard, meticulously swept, with gravel paths and manicured pines. The house itself is built of wood, with sliding shoji screens and a deep veranda running along the outside. Everything is quiet here. Even the sound of footsteps seems softer, absorbed by the tatami mats within. The day begins early, just as it did in the village, but here it is less about manual labor and more about ceremony. The daimyo rises and is dressed by attendants in layers of carefully folded robes. Servants prepare tea and simple food, following seasonal menus that reflect harmony with nature. Bamboo shoots in spring, mushrooms in autumn. You might imagine yourself kneeling nearby, quietly observing. No one raises their voice. Every bow, every movement has a proper depth and angle. The morning is spent in discussion. The daimyo receives reports from stewards about rice production, taxes, and the status of the samurai under his command. Picture the quiet murmur of voices, the gentle rustle of paper as ledgers are opened. The decisions made here will ripple outward, shaping the work in the fields you saw earlier. Sometimes messengers arrive from Edo, carrying news or orders from the shogun. These moments are formal and tense, but again, no one shouts. The atmosphere remains calm, like the still surface of a pond. Afternoons may be reserved for pursuits that display refinement, practicing calligraphy, arranging flowers in the art of ikebana, or observing the slow preparation of a tea ceremony. Imagine kneeling in the quiet tea room, watching as powdered green tea is whisked into a soft foam. The steam curls upward, carrying a faint grassy scent. Everything in this ritual is deliberate, intended to focus the mind and cultivate serenity. The daimyo may also host poets, musicians, or even no performers to entertain select guests. The performances are slow, stylized, and full of symbolism, much like life in the residence itself. As night falls, lamps are lit, casting a soft glow through paper screens. The evening meal is taken with the Lord's family, perhaps followed by quiet conversation or time spent gazing into the garden, listening to the distant sound of water trickling over stones. The household eventually retires, the corridors falling into silence. Outside, the same night sky stretches over the daimyo's estate and the peasant village alike. Two worlds connected by duty, separated by privilege, yet both guided by the same moon. With this final segment, we have seen both sides of life in feudal Japan. The mud of the paddies, the shadows of the shinobi, the silence of the Lord's chamber. Together, they form a picture of a society both structured and deeply human. And now, we slowly step away from the world of the samurai. The lanterns of the daimyo's mansion grow faint behind us. The gravel path gives way to quiet roads, and we walk once more past the rice fields where farmers rest for the night. Take a moment to breathe deeply, as if inhaling the cool air of the Japanese countryside at dusk. The sounds of insects hum softly. The paddies reflect the moon, turning them into hundreds of tiny silver mirrors. You have traveled through a full day in a samurai village, waking before dawn, working the flooded fields, and sleeping on the wooden floor of a thatched house. You have watched the 47 Ronin carry out their patient quest for honor. You have walked in silence with the ninja, learning how they moved unseen, and you have knelt in the tatami-matted halls of a daimyo's residence. Each moment, each image, was part of a larger rhythm. The slow turning of seasons, the ordered life of a society where duty and discipline shaped every choice. Now, as we leave this place behind, you may notice how quiet your own room feels. No samurai will come to collect the rice tax tonight. No messenger will arrive with news from the shogun. All is still. Let your thoughts drift like falling cherry blossoms. Feel the weight of the day lift from your shoulders, as if you too have bowed deeply and set aside every duty. There is nothing more you need to do now. The story is complete. Rest.